Hey everybody, welcome to the 13th round. This is Bloody Elbow and Bad Left Hook's Connor Rebush here recapping the results of tonight's Floyd Mayweather versus Marcos Maidana main event and the entire pay-per-view card as well. We had 4 fights on this card, including the main event. I'm going to go bottom to top. Of course, I'm going to spend the most time talking about tonight's main event, which ended in a controversial majority decision. Floyd Mayweather retains his titles, retains his unbeaten record, advances to 46-0, but not everybody is happy about that score. And I'm one of those people, so stay tuned till the end if you want to hear my thoughts on that scorecard. The first fight of the pay-per-view card was Jillian Love versus Marco Antonio Parabon. And Jillian Love has not been wholly impressive in his career so far. He was 17-0 coming into this fight, but he took a very controversial decision 2 fights before against against Gabriel Rosado, and a fight that I, as well as many other fans and pundits, really don't think he should have won. So he and Jillian Love, by the way, is a Mayweather team product. So he's a pretty hyped prospect just because of where he comes from, but he hasn't always really lived up to his name. And that seemed to kind of be the way this performance was going as well. Parabon is a veteran. He's tough. He hits hard. He's not nearly as slick as Love, but he's very tough. And in early on in the fight, Parabon, I think it was the 4th round, had Love badly hurt, very, very badly hurt. He had him stunned. He had him down and punched him about 3 or 4 times while he was on one knee. I'm not sure if Parabon noticed and just kept going, or if he didn't realize. The referee certainly did not realize that Love's knee was on the ground, and he took a good 3 or 4 shots, some of them to the back of the head. So it really looked like Love was on his way out. He was staggering. His defense was just filled with holes. He could not stop Parabon's assault. But lo and behold, Jillian Love showed cool composure. Maybe that's why he's part of the Mayweather camp. Just like Floyd Mayweather, he was calm and collected under fire. He came back. He utilized his jab, showed some sharp boxing. And this ended up unexpectedly being one of the better fights of the night, actually. The other 2 fights in this card, the next ones we're going to talk about in a moment, really didn't live up to the expectations based on the name value in them. This is one that I didn't particularly care about at all, but Jillian Love impressed me. I think for the first time in his career, he probably impressed a lot of people and had an unexpected win. He took that a unanimous decision, 95-93, 97-92, and 96-93. So a close but comfortable unanimous decision for Jillian Love over Marco Antonio Parabon. Next up on the pay-per-view card, we had Adrian Broner, Cincinnati's own. We're so proud of our boy. And he fought Carlos Molina. This was expected to be a gimme fight for Adrian Broner. Everybody going into this, myself, Scott Christ from Bad Left Hook, basically anybody who knew anything about boxing was expecting this fight to maybe be a little competitive, but basically we were thinking that Molina would not be able to handle Broner's power going down the stretch. But we forgot, man. We forgot. Adrian Broner had power back when he was at 135, but at 140, which is where this fight took place, he just didn't seem to have the same pop in his punches. To me, however, this fight was most interesting on the basis of determining whether or not Adrian Broner could continue to improve. He's received a lot of hype as a prospect, mostly because of the Mayweather's little brother kind of persona. He's got that Mayweather personality, even though he hasn't earned it like Mayweather has yet. But that's besides the point. He's received a lot of hype up until now, and that really, really was spoiled when he took an absolute beating at the hands of Marcos Maidana, who fought in tonight's main event. And so, to me, going into this fight, I was thinking, is Broner going to continue to do what he has done for his career so far, which is imitate Floyd Mayweather's style, just for flash over substance, and give away rounds with lack of consistent punching? Or is he going to do what he actually does best, which is come forward, throw combinations, and fight like an aggressive boxer puncher? And a lot of people were not impressed with Broner here, but I actually think that we did see some signs of improvement. He's still a slow starter, but he came out a little faster at the beginning. He showed some good hand speed. He didn't have the same pop. He was slapping with his left hooks a little bit. But he definitely showed a willingness to walk Molina down, which is something that he really does well. The thing about this style of Floyd Mayweather is that style, Floyd Sr. calls it the crab. Other people call it the Philly shell. It's a bit of a misnomer. Whatever it is, it's Floyd's style. It's Floyd Sr.'s style. And Floyd Jr. is the best person to be trained in that style. And the only people who do well with that style, with that system, are people who have been trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr. It's his style. He teaches it. Adrian Broner is trained by Mike Stafford, great trainer from Cincinnati, not a guy who trains the crab system of defensive counterfighting. And so whenever we see Broner doing that, it's really just a kind of a display of arrogance from Broner. He wants to be like Floyd, but he hasn't learned how to be like Floyd. Floyd's a special fighter because of his training. He's been in the gym since he was probably 5 or 6 years old. He was an Olympian. He's been boxing forever. He's 37 and he's still improving. Adrian Broner is a young guy. He's been boxing a long time too, but he does not have Floyd's training background. And so what he's best at doing is, and this sounds obvious in retrospect, and hopefully sounds more obvious to Adrian Broner, what he does best is fight the way Stafford wants him to fight. His trainer wants him to fight coming forward, hands in a high guard, throwing combinations of punches. When he did that against Carlos Molina, he looked very sharp. He really did. He showed a very quick jab. His hand speed is going to be his greatest attribute going forwards. And a little bit better combination punching. He started to pot shot early, but started to throw combinations. And he looked very, very clean on the inside. Good use of his shoulders, forearms, and elbows to bump Molina off, create space for punches. Very crafty on the inside. Not quite as good at range, but an improvement, I think. Carlos Molina, for his part, did not give this fight away easily. He was expected to roll over for Adrian Broner, and he did anything but. In fact, if Carlos Molina had a bit more power, we may very well have seen him win this fight. Carlos Molina was throwing tight combinations. He was coming at Adrian Broner. He was doing what many people don't do against people who fight with that crab stance, and throwing outside Broner's elbow. He was throwing to his body, past his arm, not just letting all of those punches roll off the arm and not trying to chase the center line too much. So it really was just a good performance from Carlos Molina. And unfortunately, it makes a solid performance from Adrian Broner look less impressive than it was because, of course, Broner was expected to do much, much better. He was expected to knock Molina out. So Broner took that fight by a unanimous decision, 99-91, 98-92, and won, frankly, absurd 100-90 scorecard. It was a close fight. Some of these scorecards tonight are very questionable. You'll see more of that in a minute. Next fight of the night was one that I actually enjoyed. Some people thought it was a stinker, but I got a lot of joy out of this fight. Amir Khan fought Luis Collazo. He beat Collazo via unanimous decision. I expected Collazo to beat up Khan going into this fight, particularly based on the fact that, not only has Amir Khan shown chin issues in the past, and that kind of cropped up in this fight too. Not only has he shown inconsistency and a little bit of arrogance in the past, too much faith in his own offense, but he's since gone to trainer Virgil Hunter, who trains Andre Ward. Great person based on name value, but the thing with Virgil is that Ward was his fighter from the very beginning. And all of the other fighters lately that have gone under his tutelage, Khan and Angulo, who recently fought Canelo Alvarez, they've not looked that great. It seems that Virgil Hunter is better at crafting fighters than he is at just training them and honing them when they've come from another system than his. So I really didn't expect to see a great performance out of Amir Khan, but he proved me wrong, man. He showed the same excellent hand speed as always, and he showed some guile. He was very, very crafty, fought a very smart fight. He was constantly holding and laying on Luis Collazo, which didn't make for a particularly fun fight at times. But it was exactly what Khan needed to do. Collazo was trying to get inside, and Khan would just lay his forearms across the back of his neck and lay on him. Wear him out, hit him with some punches, hold him, get out of the corner, hit him with some punches, lay on him again. He did exactly what he needed to do against a guy who's dangerous like Collazo, and actually managed to get 3 knockdowns in this fight against a tough and very crafty veteran. Collazo, for his part, man, the story of this fight for Collazo is that if the referee's not going to help you, you have to come up with a solution. The referee was Vic Drakulich, and I think he did a pretty terrible job in this fight. He really should have warned Khan earlier for the holding. Khan got away with it, so no fault of his. If he's going to get away with it, he should keep going to it, and he did. He did very, very well. But Drakulich really should have been taking points from Khan earlier in the fight because he was holding Collazo to such an excessive degree. It was really getting ridiculous. The thing is that Collazo didn't respond by getting dirty back, and he didn't really start grinding his head into Khan. He didn't start cuffing him below the belt, hitting him on the hips. He would just throw his hands out wide and wait for Drakulich to break them. And that kind of frustration, it makes you look like you're losing the fight. We saw Juan Manuel Marquez looked like he was doing terribly against Timothy Bradley in their fight, and it was because he was clearly frustrated. It makes the punches that you do land look lucky rather than effective, and it makes the punches that you miss look terrible because it only adds to your frustration. And man, the referee is there to enforce the rules, but if the opponent's getting away with them and the referee is clearly showing no signs of stopping what the opponent is doing, then you've got to find a way around it. You've got to deal with it. You can't just keep throwing your hands up in frustration and expecting something that has not happened all fight to suddenly happen and save you. Of course, Drakulich eventually did take a point for Khan, but only after taking a point from Collazo for a low blow, which was caused by Khan pulling his head down illegally. So really kind of an abysmal performance from the referee in that fight. Very solid performance from Amir Khan. If he does become the next man to fight Floyd Mayweather, I'd be very interested in that fight. He got caught with one big shot in this fight and looked like he was about to go down, looked like he was in trouble. So yes, he's chinny, but Floyd is not a guy who's going to throw heavy leather the way Collazo was in this fight. Floyd is not the kind of guy who's going to hunt you down with combinations unless, as we'll see in the main event, he's forced to fight back that way. And we've seen Floyd fight heavy-handed Latinos. That's the storyline we keep seeing. Let's see him fight this British guy who is very, very fast and very athletic. And also the drama of having a weak chin means that you might be able to sell it as Floyd's first knockout in however many years. So I think Amir Khan versus Floyd Mayweather is a quite logical next matchup if the Golden Boy people don't decide to give a rematch to Marcos Maidana. Segueing off of that, let's get right into the main event. I've got a lot to say about this fight. Floyd Mayweather, one of the slickest boxers in all of boxing, but you cannot let his history of being smooth and cool and collected and his history of great defense sway the way that you're viewing his fights. This is something that really gets to me. Judges and fans and commentators look at style over substance when somebody as stylish as Mayweather is fighting, and I think that's exactly what was happening in this fight. I was doing the play-by-play on Bloody Elbow, and checking between rounds, we had people giving Floyd the advantage in the 12th round. Some people had him 10 rounds up, 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think that Marcos Maidana won the first 4 rounds of this fight at least, and I actually had this fight a draw. I scored this fight 114 to 114 for Marcos Maidana. One of the official judges agreed with me, 114 to 114. The two others gave it 116 to 112. That's not despicable, 8 rounds to 4 for Floyd. But 117, 111, I think 9 rounds to 3 is just too wide in Floyd's favor considering the realities of this fight. Marcos Maidana did exactly what I expected him to do. He refused to quit in the face of adversity. Even when he was getting tagged with counters, he was coming forward. He spent the first 4 or 5 rounds of the fight just bull rushing Floyd, smashing him into the ropes, planting his head in his chest, banging him to the body. He was leading with this wide right to the body that set up his overhand. He was catching Floyd in the head. Yes, Floyd was rolling with some of those punches. But the mistake that we make as fans of slick, stylish boxers is to assume that because Floyd can roll with punches, none of the punches that land are hurting him. That's not the way to score a fight. You have to gauge the reality of the fight. Don't score based on your expectations. And I really think that's the case with people who are giving this fight so heavily to Floyd. They assume He's not getting hurt because he has such good defense. Well, look, he's being outlanded. Marcos Maidana threw 100 punches in the first round of this fight, and he landed a great deal of them. And I really think he surprised Floyd with his tenacity and the aggression that he came out with. The biggest thing about this fight to me was that Marcos Maidana showed no respect for Floyd Mayweather. And I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make against a fighter like Floyd Mayweather is to show him too much respect. Yes, he's the greatest boxer alive today. Don't treat him like he's the greatest boxer alive today. Treat him like it's just another fight. I know that's easier said than done, but that's exactly what Marcos Maidana did tonight. He fought Floyd the way that he fought Amir Khan. He fought Floyd the way that he fought Adrian Broner. He just absolutely took it to him from the first bell to the last, and it was a really impressive performance. For his part, Floyd really showed his greatest attribute, in my opinion, which is his adaptability. He received a cut early on in this fight from an accidental headbutt, which was the first time he's ever been cut in his career, and he kept touching at his eye, looking at the blood. He was clearly not comfortable with that, but he came back from it. By the time the 5th and 6th round rolled around, he was starting to get the timing and the distance on his lead right. His jab was doing great work, and his body shots were very, very accurate and very sharp. I think he hurt Maidana a few times with body shots and countered him with some really nice uppercuts as Maidana rushed in head first into the clinch. But like I said, I really think this was similar to when Chris Weidman fought Anderson Silva. I know we're talking boxing, but that's the only similar performance I can think of right now. When a young opponent who's really not expected to beat the old master comes in and wins because he doesn't care who he's fighting. And that's exactly what we saw tonight. Marcos Maidana didn't care that he was fighting Floyd Mayweather. He cared that he had someone in front of him that had something he wanted, and he went in there and tried to maul him. So I thought this was a fantastic fight. It showed off Floyd Mayweather's cool composure, his just how nonchalant he is in wild exchanges, and how good he is at adjusting from round to round. Because without that ability, he would have been knocked out by Marcos Maidana in this fight. And Marcos Maidana showed that he is just the most tenacious fighter out there. You can't stop him. The only thing that let Marcos Maidana down in this fight was his gas tank. And honestly, if they do have a rematch, I think that Maidana could fare even better than he did tonight just by pacing himself a little more. You don't have to throw 100 punches in the first round and the second and third and fourth. If you maybe overwhelm him from the start and then lay off, pace yourself, plan like you're not going to get the knockout. I think Marcos Maidana could win that rematch given how well he did tonight, judges' scorecards aside. So again, I had that fight scored 114-114. Richard Schaefer from Golden Boy said they want to do a rematch. Floyd Mayweather said if they want to see it, we'll do it again. Marcos Maidana, of course, said he wanted a rematch. In fact, trainer Robert Garcia said Maidana's the one who has to consent to a rematch because he won the fight, and also asks Jim Gray, the ring interviewer for Showtime Sports, he asked him, do we get to use our gloves next time? So just a very game performance from Marcos Maidana. I was most impressed with him, but not to take anything away from Floyd Mayweather. I know I had this fight a draw, and I'm talking a lot about Maidana, but Mayweather showed why he's the champion. You can't overwhelm him mentally and expect that to be the only thing. Expect that to be the only thing you need. Mayweather is so cool and collected. He knows how to come back from adversity. He showed that against Shane Mosley, and much like the Shane Mosley fight, he got hurt early, and then just got better as the fight went on. It took a little longer for him to get into gear because of how awkward Maidana's style is, but he just got better and better as the fight progressed. Really fantastic performance from both fighters. I don't know about you, but I'd be more than happy to see a rematch. If not that, Amir Khan, I think, earned his shot at Floyd Mayweather. Thanks for joining us on Bloody Elbow and Bad Left Hook for the fights tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. Most exciting Floyd Mayweather fight in a number of years. I think we can all agree. And so with that being said, go to Bloody Elbow and Bad Left Hook for all of your boxing and mixed martial arts coverage. And join me next time on 13th Round.